Hey everybody, welcome to Everybody Arts. It's Mr. Matt, and today we're working on paper mache pumpkins. As you can see right there, I'm painting one. I actually haven't finished painting them all at the moment, so this is as far as I while I'm doing the voiceover. I'm actually waiting for Emma to get out of class today, so we're gonna paint them together. But right now, I just wanted to go over the basics of making them, and it's a lot of fun. But I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I get to share those with you so you don't make as many mistakes as I did. I forgot how to do paper mache. I used to do it a lot differently than I've seen people do it recently. So I had to relearn a couple of things. But this was fun, and I hope you have fun with it too. And here's the steps you got to do, and here's what the supplies are for it. Well, I was trying to be really clever when I was writing down a supply list, and it didn't work out on the camera, so I'm just going to have to do it regular right here. I'm just going to say, first of all, hello, and then I put down some cardboard. Yeah, the markers, don't worry about it. I just had those sitting there, so I'll move those out of the way. But yeah, you put down cardboard, and then I put down paper over the top of it. You really want to cover your area really well for this. I put down cardboard first, and then the cardboard is just a cereal box, and then I put paper over it. Once I was done, I rolled up the cardboard with everything on top of it and threw it away because this gets super messy. So that was my favorite thing, was that I could just roll it up and throw it out. So here's what you need. That's pretty much it. If I think of anything else, I might throw something else in there, but for the most part, that's the basics of what you need. Now, before I get right into it, I just wanted to say, I think probably because it's October and it's getting close to Halloween, I was a little cursed when I started this. I started writing things down on here, and I did have a camera overhead, and that camera didn't turn on for some weird reason. I did hit it. I don't know what happened. So that was like problem number one. Problem number two was my cat jumped on the counter behind me right there. Hey, I didn't even know that that was going to happen immediately then, but hey, there you go. Less editing for me. Yeah, and he just kind of hung out back there for a while, and I didn't notice him until he walked across the stove at a certain point. So that was problem number two. And then problem number three, I actually thought I was having problems with the thickness of my flour. I thought I was making it too thick and it was causing my pumpkins to crack. It wasn't actually my glue flour water mixture. It was the temperature that I was drying them at. I was taking them outside during the day to dry. I thought that would be the best thing, put them out in the sun, let them dry. My main problem was it was 90 degrees during the day. When I take them back in at night, it was 73 degrees in my house because I'm a big baby and I can't handle hot. I didn't realize this until right when I was finishing up this video. So when it was outside in the heat, it would expand. The balloon would expand inside. When I bring it in at night, the balloon would contract. This was messing up the paper mache and it was causing it to crack, and I wouldn't see it until the morning, and I'm like, oh, that glue mixture that I'm making is awful. What am I doing wrong? Really, I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just that evil science rearing its ugly head again. But I was worried it was the flour water mixture, so I went back and triple checked that, and that's good for you because then I made sure I got the right consistency and everything, which I'll show you in about 2 seconds. Bottom line, just make sure you're drying it either inside or in a garage or somewhere. Make sure you have paper under it because when it dries, it will drip off all the excess water and flour onto whatever you have underneath it. So obviously you don't want that to be your carpet or your cat or anything like that. The other thing too is you have to keep turning it when you're drying it because as it dries, all the gravity will pull all the flour and water to the bottom. So you don't want one part of it just sagging with water. You want to make sure it dries evenly. So you have to keep turning it maybe once an hour. But anyway, that's where we're at. Let's get back to the water and flour mixture, and then we can move on from there. I went back and watched a couple of YouTube videos of people that do this all the time and learning from some of my mistakes. I wanted to make sure I gave you the right consistency. And the best way to do this is to use a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, if you're younger, you probably don't know what that is. That means you use, if you're using 1 cup of flour, you want to add 1 cup of water. However, if you're done and the flour looks a little thick, it's okay to add a little bit of water. Now, if you watch as it comes off the fork, that's the consistency it should be. Now, consistency, again, that's how thick it is. It shouldn't be too runny, and it shouldn't be too thick that it comes off in big chunks. The way it looks here in this video is what you're going for when you're mixing the flour and water. Okay, now we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to take the balloons and the rubber bands, and we're going to blow up the balloon, not all the way. I don't want it too big, okay? You take the balloon in one hand and a rubber band in another. You might need some help from your brother, sister, or your parents or your grandparents, whoever's nearby that can help you with this. And you want to put it around the middle of the balloon. Don't tie it yet. Just you want to check and see if you have enough air in it. If you put too much air in it, that rubber band going around the balloon won't squeeze it in the middle. And what you want is you want it to make a little bit of a dent as it goes around. Once you've got it at the right size, go ahead and tie it off. The rubber band goes around from the middle on the top where you tied it. And then there's always like a little dot on the bottom where the balloon gets closed at the factory. So it's like just a little dot on the bottom. So now we're going to put a second one on. Again, going from the top where the knot is across that dot on the bottom. And it should look like a plus sign on the top and a plus on the bottom. I'm getting all like serious and making sure it's exact. It doesn't have to be exact. If you've ever had a pumpkin, pumpkins aren't perfect. So that's what I like about this too. I don't have to be perfect with it when I'm making it. I'm making this pumpkin into sections just like you would cut a pie. See how they're all meeting in the center on the top and they meet at the center on the bottom. I have not had a balloon pop on me once, and I've done a lot of them. You don't need to tape them, don't need to glue them. They're just going to stay on there by themselves. Now, if you notice, yeah, see how they kind of all dent in on it? And it gives you that pumpkin look. I think that's really neat. So there you go. You got the look of a pumpkin out of that balloon, okay? And moving forward, we're going to take that Dixie cup, a bathroom cup. Dixie is a brand, sorry. Just any kind of, hello Emma, any kind of bathroom cup. I am so easily distracted. There's a seam on the side. You can cut up the seam. It doesn't matter. Cut up the seam, and then when you get to the bottom of the cup, cut that out all the way around. I'm cutting slow, but that's okay. I don't want to hurt myself. You cut off that little ridge where the top of the cup was. Now you're going to take the cup, or what was left of it, and you're going to turn it inside out so that the plain side or the unwaxed side is facing out. Now you can put a piece of Scotch tape on it. You want to make sure before you tape it that the top has a smaller opening than the bottom, okay? See how the bottom is wider? This is actually the stem. We're making the stem out of this. Now we're going to cut slits up the side, as you can see I'm doing here. Had to switch to the cool camera. All the cool kids have dual cameras on YouTubes. So you bend up these sides so that this will sit on the top of the balloon pumpkin. Okay. Now to get it to stay up on the top of the balloon, the best way to do this after you fold the feet out from your stem, you can try to stick them under the rubber bands. Not all of them will fit right under the rubber bands. Right there, if you look, I tore a slit in one of the feet and put the rubber band through it. I tore a couple, but it was easier for me to just cut a slit on some of them. Just be careful with your balloon. And then you slide your rubber band underneath those slits, and that'll hold the entire time you're working on the paper mache. I didn't have a problem on any of my balloons, and I did them all the same way. And that's it. So here we go. We're going to do the paper mache right now. You have to do what I say, not what I do, because like I said, I made a lot of mistakes. Um, One thing, you'll notice the paper. I used a lot of sale flyers and things that I got. I also used, if you look underneath my pumpkin right now, there's that gray paper. That's moving paper, like you wrap your plates and things in that. That works too. That kind of fell apart the glue too quickly. So the sale flyers worked really well. The other thing that worked incredibly well was the yellow pages and white pages for local businesses. So those are great papers to use. If you notice, my pumpkin rolled away while I was trying to work on it. You're supposed to have like something under it, like to keep it from. That's me whipping down paper in frustration. It, you should have something underneath the pumpkin. So I would put a little styrofoam bowl underneath, like a styrofoam cereal bowl, or I would put I had a Cool Whip container and I would put parchment paper or tinfoil. Tinfoil works really well. The paper mache, wet paper mache, won't stick to it. I'm pretty sure that that would be the case for the parchment paper as well. I put parchment paper in the bottom of the bowl when I was painting them because the tempera paint won't stick to the parchment paper. And if it stuck to the styrofoam bowl, it probably would have pulled off the paint and probably some paper. So it's useful for when you're painting. When you're putting the paper strips into the paste, you want to put the paper strip in and get it wet all the way on both sides, really. Sometimes I would only get it in on one side, but you want to take your fingers and slide them down both sides so that it's not completely dripping wet, but the paper has to be wet on both sides. If it's not going to stick quite right to the balloon or to the other pieces of paper on whatever your project is. But this is, yeah, making sure that it's wet all the way around, wiping off the excess as you bring it out of the bowl, and then placing it onto the pumpkin and smoothing it out, making sure there's no wrinkles because those will show up too and they'll dry, and this paper mache dries very hard. Cover up the top as much as you can. You don't want any of the balloon showing. Even if you can see a little bit of the balloon in the light, like showing through the paper, you want to make sure you put enough paper over there just to cover up the balloon completely. Now on the stem, we're going to put a piece of paper over the hole on top and lay the extra paper over the sides. And then we're going to take a couple of pieces of paper and wrap them around the stem going down to kind of hold that top piece of paper in place. One thing that you should do that I'm not doing here, I'm just tearing off pieces of paper. As it gets further along, you'll notice that all the paper just sticks to my hands and it's just a horrible, awful mess. I later on, when I did a couple more, I pre-cut the pieces, but you should spread them out because even if I pre-cut them, if I grab one out of a pile, the whole pile gets wet and then they all stick together, so it still didn't really help. You can pre-cut pieces. The easiest ones to use are like maybe half the height of the pumpkin and like not very wide, but you don't want to sit there and be doing it all day with these tiny little confetti-sized pieces of paper. You want a decent size so that you get the job done and you get good coverage in a decent amount of time. Don't sit and mess with the paper too long. If you try to pull it down, like I was just like trying to straighten it out. If you do that too much, you can actually pull the paper down off of the pumpkin or move it down from where it originally was. I mentioned before I made a lot of mistakes. As you can see here, I didn't put any tinfoil in the bottom of the bowl that I have it setting on. And when I lifted it up, I think it stuck to that Cool Whip bowl. So that's me smoothing it out there. I think at that point I asked Emma to grab me some tinfoil so that I could put it on top of that Cool Whip container. So now when you're done, you dry it. And these are the steps that I went over before. But if you go back to 258 in the video, it'll explain it in detail. Make sure you have good coverage. You smooth out any of the wrinkles and things like that. And then you set it out to dry. And when it is dry, you got to wait 24 hours at least. And then you can paint it. And like I said, I use tempera paint. I'm going to probably do a little bit more and I'll pop something up later, maybe even if it's just a 2-minute video, just to show you what it looks like after it's been painted. And if I do cut one open, which I'm sure I will, just to show you, I'll probably do that maybe later in the week, just a really fast thing. But really, that's it. you know, I had fun doing it. I know a lot of the problems that I have with it, and the reason they look all blobby and things are mostly because I had problems with them expanding and contracting. I didn't have a good enough paste mixture. It was really thick, and I didn't mix it long enough, so I had a lot of uh, lumps in there, and you can see that on the final project. But really, I'm still happy with it. I still had fun doing it. It takes time because you have to be patient with it. And if I can figure out easier, better ways to do it, I'll share that with you. But you guys are awesome. I'm glad to be making videos. Even though it's like every other week and it seems like it's not a lot, I still love making them. And you guys are awesome. Be good to each other. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. All right. Take care. Bye bye.